I'm Nick from XACT Nutrition. I'm gonna walk you through the Gravel Royale Stage Race and how to best fuel for this beast of a weekend. Looking at an overview, Gravel Royale is kind of a race that's hard to prep for in my opinion. It's 3 days of gravel riding back to back to back, but you're camping as you're doing it. So it mixes a bit of adventure with racing. So that alone, you're probably not gonna be doing a lot of camping and big bike rides at your house. So it's a unique challenge to prep for, I think, because these distances are no joke. You got, for the full pint route, you have 300 kilometers to do, 5,500 meters of gain over the 3 days. So we're talking over half of Mount Everest you're gonna climb on gravel roads. Half pint, nothing else to really look past. You're also doing 200K, 3,500 meters of climbing. So both, whether you do the half or the full pint route, pretty significant elevation and climbing out there. And from experience doing this race, it's very rough gravel. We're out in the Rocky Mountains, you're in the woods, it's bumpy, technical. So those kilometers, they're not coming easy, in my opinion. A lot of the prep for this race, you're gonna be doing this before you even get to the start line, both for your nutrition, your technical riding, all those things. So things I'd be looking for to prep for Gravel Royale: getting out on your gravel bike, doing those hard rides, practicing eating while you're riding technical terrain. Because as we go through all of these scenarios today for eating, it really involves you being very comfortable, taking your hands off the handlebars while riding something that's pretty challenging. Because you're camping, a lot of this prep work is going to happen before you even get to the race. You're gonna have to bring all your nutrition with you. You're out in the woods, there's gonna be no depth stop, there's gonna be no convenience store stop to go top up on the food. So you have to think about your fueling plan in advance and bring all those things with you. For that, we have a great resource on our website. It's our carbohydrate calculator. That's gonna tell you about how many fruit bars, how many grams of carbohydrates you're gonna need for each stage. So what I'd recommend in advance is plug in the estimated time you think each stage will take you, see how many fruit bars approximately you'll need to bring to the race. That'll set you up in advance, so when I go through each of these guides, you have the necessary fuel for that. First things first, I would say all of these starts, they're rather early morning. We start at 8 in the morning. We're waking up at the crack of dawn, eating breakfast, getting on your bike. So setting yourself up for success is at the breakfast table. You gotta be looking for foods rich in carbohydrates. You gotta be topping up on those, because once the race starts, a key theme of a lot of these races is the first part of the course is the most technical, it's the most challenging. So you're not gonna be taking your hands off the bars to be eating when it's that technical, when the climbs are that demanding. So that means your breakfast has to be completely covering you for that first hour of the race. So let's look for things rich in carbohydrates there. We're looking at oatmeal, we're looking at toast, we're looking at jam. They sometimes have pancakes. It's all race organizers supplied, but I'd be tending towards those carbohydrate-rich foods over the things like the eggs, the sausages of the world. Delicious, but probably tend to the side of the carbs. With that in mind, you had your carb-rich breakfast. We're gonna jump into stage one. So stage one, you're gonna start with your biggest climb of the day right out of the gate. So this is called the Cochrane Creek climb, where you're gonna be climbing up to about 1,600 meters of elevation. So it's a high elevation climb, it's remote, classified as basically an unmaintained road. So it may be challenging to even ride this section. There might be a lot of walking involved there. And because it's right out of the gate, you're doing your hardest climb. Think about it, your breathing's gonna be at its highest, you're working at your limit, you might be pushing your bike. This is not like an optimal place to be eating your fruit bar. Imagine that the first 20 kilometers of this race, you're going to have very limited time to eat. You're gonna be either working very hard on the climb, maybe pushing your bike, or descending down a minimally maintained road. And you're gonna need full focus on what you're doing while riding the bike. So at that first 20 kilometer mark, almost making up a little bit for what you missed. So maybe a couple fruit bars or whatever your nutrition source is. You conveniently also have an aid station there. So say you are having difficulties reaching into the pocket, grabbing your food, great opportunity just to stop for a minute, root around for what you want, maybe grab something that's prepped at the aid station and keep going. Like even those 30-second pauses at the aid station, if it means you can get that nutrition in, it's gonna help you in the long run. Because yes, you did the hardest climb of the day, but for the full pinters, you have another hard climb to go. So if you're not eating, you're tapping into those glycogen stores pretty early. And that's a concern for a stage race. You have to be topped up for 3 days consecutively. So we're always thinking about continuously fueling the body with what it needs. If we look onto stage 2, this is called the Miller Pass route. So full pint, you have 96 kilometers, 1,600 meters of climbing. So again, a very challenging day, just like the day prior. Half pint, you almost do the exact same course as the full pint. We're looking at 83 kilometers, 1,400 meters of climbing. So both days are extremely challenging. This is gonna be the hardest day of the entire race. So let's fuel with that in mind. What's unique about the start of this one is you're going to start on the cross-country ski trails around Napika Mountain Resort. So anybody who's done the race in the past know that those cross-country ski trails are super demanding. It's incredibly bumpy. There's a lot of debris on the trails. It's just very much a challenge just to ride your bike, especially at the start of the race. You'll be in a pack, the pace will be hot. It's just not the time that you're realistically going to be eating. So we're thinking about that at breakfast. We're knowing that the first hour is gonna be really, really hard. And we're getting onto these unmaintained roads and cross-country ski trails. We're probably going to wait until 30, 45 minutes to have that chance to feed for the first time. But once we get to that point, you have a little more smooth sailing to just stick to a fueling plan. So again, depending on what you've landed on for carbs per hour on our website or your own plan, you're trying to keep that consistent. We're not trying to overwhelm the gut with too much at one time. So we're gonna say every 30 minutes, every 45 minutes, depending on what you've landed on. We wanna fuel with the course in mind, knowing that the first bit's going to be very, very demanding. After that, we get into a couple large climbs on the day. So we can see here about 30 kilometers in, really starts to kick up, gets to one of your first major peaks of the day at 35 kilometers. This would be probably a good time in that stretch before the peak. Try to take some nutrition in right before you get over the top, because you're gonna have a long descent before your big climb of the day. So I'd be taking on that fuel early, always anticipating what's coming ahead on the course. So if we know that your biggest climb of the day is right after this one, it's back to back, no riding in between, we're fueling in advance so that is ready to kick in by the time you need it. 48.7, it's your high point of the day, 1,700 meters. Again, you want to be fueled for that climb. It's incredibly steep too at the beginning. I can see gradients over 10% here. From experience at Gravel Royale, when it's at 10%, it's very loose. You're gonna be gripping the bars. You're not gonna be able to eat. So you're taking that fuel on a bit early, just focusing on the climb when you're on the climb, and then perhaps over the top, you take that second to eat your bar. Stage 3. This is gonna give you a bit of a different look than other stages. It actually starts with a very calm start in comparison to the other races. So we're not having those technical sections. We're not climbing right out of the gate. This is gonna give you a chance just to go right into your fueling plan. So maybe every 30 minutes, every 45 minutes, you're taking on a fruit bar, you're taking on an endurance bar, whatever you've determined for the day, you can get right into it. This is a more run-of-the-mill stage, but I would say you're gonna try to take on a little bit more carbs per hour in this stage if you can, because likely after 2 days of hard riding, you're a bit glycogen depleted, you're hurting from those couple days, your body can use every little bit of energy it gets. So I'd say whatever plan you've had in the last couple of days, we're gonna up that by a couple percent just to help you get through it. Major climb of the day for the full pint route, very, very steep. We're seeing 12.5% over the top. So again, let's fuel with the course in mind. So maybe you're starting with that every 30 minutes, but you can't quite do that. You're gonna take a little break. Maybe you take take a double feed before the climb so you're nice and prepped. Maybe a caffeine bar beforehand if you do that. It's an out and back. So the beauty of an out and back is you'll know the course because you would have ridden half of it already. So you can know you can pick your spots on the way out. You can say, oh, okay, this wasn't so bad. It's pretty smooth. I can eat here. And then you know for the way back, maybe where you want to take that feed. So that's how you fuel for Gravel Royale, whether you're doing the half pint or the full pint race. If you want more resources, check out some of our other videos. There's a lot of nuggets in there that you can apply to this race that apply to the other TransRockies races. If you want more advice on how much I should pack in my pockets, we got a carb calculator for that. You can follow that on our website. And if you have more questions that the carb calculator or the other videos can't answer, just send us a message and we're here to help. I'm Nick Kleban and I approve this message.